Fortunately, she hadn't, and I found her there on the balcony, shining pale under the moon. I remember asking her what troubled her. "Birds," she gestured. After seeing the question in my eyes, she elaborated. "They've all gone silent." I never understood how she could have known that when I hadn't even noticed, but she was right. All the birds had gone silent. I didn't give it much thought at the time, and I told her we should go back to sleep. The last thing I remember is her telling me that she would go take a walk on the meadows below, as she so many times before had, and would come back before I awoke. In retrospect, it seems obvious that something very serious was amiss, but that natural thought that nothing extraordinarily could possibly ever happen to oneself drowned my worries and sent me back to bed, believing, no doubt, that I would awake yet to another morning. I went back to sleep on a warm night of midsummer, and when I opened my eyes again, it was a freezing day of late November, 17 years later. I arrived at the walls that had gated my home away 4 days after I awoke into that new, unfamiliar world. In those 4 days I had been arrested, taken away into the city of Cerna, and stripped off every identity document and piece of clothing that tied me to my previous life. Then they tried to convince me that my name, Mirov, wasn't really so. They gave me new, completely forged papers of another man and insisted I should pass off as him from now on. But I didn't listen. I entered the lands to the view of my home, Oozing, the city I was told never existed, in search of Celine, a woman they told me never lived. I did so with the aims of recovering the life I lost, a bygone past that for me was barely a yesterday. Everything was progressing without any issues. I hadn't come across any militiamen patrolling inside, though I already suspected that would be the case. When the tanks came into view, I realized the military had organized a full-on assault from every direction. They aimed for Urjum and every other location in between. I still don't know what they hoped to achieve, but the land stopped them in their tracks, and it was better off that way. The caravan had been turned into a makeshift encampment by travelers, called in by a sense of adventure, no doubt. Perhaps they pursued the glory of reaching that which lay at the bed of the derelict land, though that was not something I would know about until a while later. I had completely forgotten about the radio by the time the man on the other side contacted me.
To 276.
Hello, who is this? Can you hear me now?
You should not have come here. You're tracking about the edge of a very steep abyss.
Who are you? Do I know you?
Every step you venture into this place is a step you further astray yourself away from your place in life.
There is no place in life for me other than this one. Look, you said this place didn't exist. You removed it from every map. But here I am, and I'm going back home.
There is no home for you on this side of the walls. There's nothing real here, only ruins of the past. You're chasing a ghost, Fyodor. This is a dangerous place, and even if you manage to make it out alive, a change of identity may not be your only punishment this time.
I don't care. I'd rather die as Mirov, who I really am, here, where I lived half of my life, than pretend to be the person you made up for me.
Are you trying to convince me, or yourself?
No one. Tell your boss that if they want me out, they'll have to drag me out themselves.